Welcome, everybody, and welcome to the first of a training webinar on pendulums, and it's our first webinar of 2024. And first off, I want to say to all of you, Happy New Year. And I want to say to all of you from the different countries who are here tonight, from the UK, from Ireland, from any other part of Europe, wherever you may be from, and obviously from all of our great clients also in Australia, welcome to this webinar tonight. And what I want to do is, as I introduce Tamara, hi Tamara, say hello.
Hello, everybody. Very happy to be here.
Yes, and you can tell she's actually very happy to be here, right? And at Think and Grow Education, what we want to do is we struggle and strive to find people to bring you excellence. There's a lot of great people out there who do great things. We always want to just go over that line and create something of great excellence. And as a great brand that we are today, with a brand that's growing now globally, bringing you excellence and bringing you excellent people is a determination of Think and Grow Education. And in doing that, then, I'm very, very happy tonight to introduce you to Tamara Herman. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk to you tonight about energy. And this is all about energy. Think and Grow Education is an education platform where you come to learn new things. And to learn and master energy, for a lot of people, can be absolutely life-changing. And for many people, the mistake of not learning about the fundamental fabric of humans, energy, and not learning it, for many people, is fatal, literally fatal. So learning it is not only just inspirational, but also it gives you an opportunity to buy back the time that you've sold out to low energy that you create in your body. What we're doing here now with Tamara tonight is I'm going to talk to Tamara and we'll talk away about pendulums, connecting with energy, and finding a direction to give you a guide in your life. And then we'll pass it over to some questions and answers. And you guys feel free to ask any questions that you need to. You can drop questions into the questions box. And if we have time at the end, I'll go in there and I'll ask you those questions. So let's start off. Pendulums gives you an opportunity to look into areas of your life to find answers that you haven't been able to find answers to. And pendulum is a energy phenomenon. So in other words, if you have questions about your life and things that you want to do in your life, and you can connect into the energy of life to ask that question, to allow that energy field to speak back to you, what it means is that there must be something in the universe that doesn't make mistakes. So think about this for a moment, right? Here you are as a collective of cells, and all of these cells are little tiny people. And everything that you are is tiny people. And you are not an individual. You are a collection of 37 trillion tiny little people all working together brilliantly and all working together really well. And what that means is then, if you're working together brilliantly and really well, there has to be a system behind that. So you've got a couple of choices in life. If I was to say to you, how did you arrive here on the planet? Or how do we arrive here on this planet as a species? Or how did this planet arrive into this universe? You might say, well, do you know what? The whole thing is an accident. It's just here purely by chance and not by choice. What that means then is that this little community of 37 trillion people that are conforming together and forming together to create you are just here by pure chance. To get 37 trillion pieces, I don't mean to laugh, to get 37 trillion pieces working together brilliantly, and each of those pieces having 100,000 movements and reactions per second, that's all working brilliantly enough so that you can walk, you can talk, you can breathe, and you can go to sleep tonight and wake up tomorrow. You really have to ask yourself the question, are we really here by chance? If we then believe that we're here by choice, that something created us, and we look at the basic fabric of the universe, and what we see at the fabric of the universe is we see energy. So therefore, if the collection of everything that we are is here by pure design, which you must be starting to think now, there has to be some design mechanism and some blueprint behind all of this that you call you. And then we spread it out across the entire universe. And we know that you then, at the foundation and the fundamental level of who you are, is energy. It must mean then that the order that created you equally has to be order. So therefore, then you must conclude that the energy field that you sit on and you ride on, which is what you sit on and ride on, has to have brilliant, precise order to it. That order then, if it was asked the question, can you create life? The energy field would say, well, life sprouts from me and comes from me, and I am the mezzanine that all life sits on. So this energy field is a pure, dynamic, intelligent field of energy that created all of life and existence. It doesn't remove, by the way, God and Jesus and so on from reality at all. It doesn't. It actually brings that there's another force out there into it. So I'm not discounting that at all. But let me bring you back to that energy field. If we are order, which we are, and our body is order, which it is, and the field we rise from is order, and this order is intelligent, well, then this order was able to answer the question, can you create life? And it said yes. And here you are in this webinar. That means then that this field of order must have all the answers to who you are and all of the answers to who you can become and all of the answers to why you're not fully the person that you want to be. Now, just think about that for a moment. Can you imagine now you having a channel, a conduit, a connection, a pathway, a roadway for you to communicate with that energy and for that energy to communicate back with you, because it communicated back with you already the day that somebody thought about having you. And here you are from a thought sitting here today. And what is that thought? That thought was energy. So why are you here? Because someone had a thought and carried through with that, and energy gave life and access to that thought. What you're going to do now is, with Tamara, is you're going to learn how to tap into that energy to ask the question, why am I here? Where am I going? Am I doing the right thing? Am I living the right life? How can I change? Tamara, welcome along.
Thank you very much, Ray.
Pleasure. So tell us a little bit about pendulums and just kind of the basics of how they work before I go into asking you questions about them. So just a little kind of introduction.
Yeah. So the pendulum is, as you said, this is a conduit between you, your higher self, and universal energy. So as you create a thought, you're creating an energy stream, and that energy stream is exerted against or towards the pendulum. And the pendulum is responding to that, and therefore it's directing the answers to the questions that we seek. It's a simple tool, anybody can learn to use it, and it's reasonably quick to learn how to use as well. It's a great little tool to have in your magician's chest.
So in asking questions of the pendulum then gives back in a particular way specific answers that are readable by the student who's just understanding about pendulums.
Correct, yes. So initially, we're just going to learn how to use a yes and no answer. So you have very clear directive from your pendulum as to what direction you need to move in your life.
I mean, that is an amazing tool to be able to ask an energy field that created us, are we moving in the right direction in our life?
It sure is. It
Okay.
sure is.
Well,
It's
look.
an exceptional thing.
Okay. Well, look, I'm intrigued. You have me. And with the pendulum course that we're talking about and the training and people learning this pendulum, so on and forward, I suppose that some of the questions that people would ask the pendulum has to be things like health. So let's just focus on health for a moment. And tell us some of the questions that you could ask the pendulum about health, for example, that you would get specific answers to.
Yeah, things like, am I taking the right kind of nutrition? Am I using the right kind of diet if you want to be losing weight? Are you doing the right kind of exercise for your body type? These are all kinds of questions that are going to affect us very dramatically if we're making the wrong choices in our life.
Okay. And once we get the answer back, so it's about learning how to use a pendulum yourself, be guided by the pendulum, ask the pendulum specifically designed questions that this energy field can connect with. And then the energy moves the pendulum, and we then have relevant answers and information to our life. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So when I was talking to you before we came on live about some of the questions that you can ask a pendulum, like I was really, really intrigued by some of those questions. And what you and I have done is, Tamara, we've worked out a series of really pertinent, relevant questions that we can ask the pendulum.
Hmm.
And you've been learning this for how long now?
Oh, I originally learned this as a teenager. In fact, my grandmother taught me how to use a pendulum. So for a very, very, very long time now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more varies needed in there, or was it just very, very long is
No,
good?
no, very, 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 very.
I love the one that you said, do I deserve a healthy, loving, and equal relationship? Is that a specific question that you can ask?
That is a very specific question and very relevant to many, many, many of us in life. It's probably the number one question that people want to have answered.
So, people tonight now who are going to do this, right? What they're going to do is they're going to take away this whole pendulum idea and they're going to sit there tomorrow and next week and they're going to be asking the pendulum questions. So all they're doing is they're just transferring in asking a question. All you're doing is you create energy when you ask, when you move, when you breathe. There's specific energy behind every action of a human. And this pendulum then is like an aerial. So as I take it, it picks up information in the form of energy and then responds back to that, just like magnets respond to magnets.
That's exactly right, Ray.
So what happens now if the pendulum says you're not worthy of a loving relationship?
Ooh, it's time for you to go off and do some work on yourself. Find out, ask the pendulum, you could ask the pendulum whether you have enough self-love. Great question to ask. If you're blocked there, then it's time to go and either seek another course, get some more information, go to counselling. There's a whole range of things that you can do, but it is telling you you need to do more self-work.
Okay. So, the opening intro that I just gave you there, the opening monologue, I want to add to that monologue. And when you're watching this webinar right now, just understand that this is me speaking directly to you watching this. We live in an energy field, and most people on the planet do not understand the consequence of energy, and they don't understand the magnificence of energy. So people then who come along and involve themselves in the work that you are talking about here tonight, they're the people that spend time and energy on themselves by doing this work. And what they're doing is they're transferring energy from something negative or something that is low flating or ill flating, and they're transferring that energy into their own personal development. So this idea of pendulums and you mastering the art of energy and mastering the art of pendulums is you spending time and energy on yourself. But don't you know that when you spend time and energy on any system and you put energy into a system, entropy slows down, which is the natural destruction of a system. And your body and life is energy. So when you put time and energy into yourself, you slow down the decay of your system. And what do we call that? We call that the 101-year-old granny sitting on a birthday cake blowing out 101 candles. And we look at what has this person done in their life? What have they learned? And I don't think they get there by accident. They get there by choice. They have spent in some form or way energy on themselves in a very creative, constructive way that led to their happiness. Show me a 101-year-old who's sitting there all grumpy. You ever seen them, Tamara? The
I've never seen a
101-year-old blowing out the cake.
101-year-old
They're always
grumpy.
happy and smiling and laughing, and they're 101. Like they've got wrinkles down there. Their cheeks are hanging around their kneecaps, but they're still sitting there in this really, really, really happy space. So, in other words, nothing phases them. So they must have some little kind of secrets and snippets to life. I want to go into other areas of life now. So, what you just said there was that if the pendulum says to me, "You're not worthy of a loving relationship," then really what you got to do is you really have to listen to that because we create that unworthiness. So it gives you brilliant, brilliant answers. In other words, you learn the things that you haven't learned before. So in other words, Tamara, there's kind of no bad answer, even though there might be a negative response from the pendulum. There's no bad answer. What it does is it opens up a door and says, hey, you need to look in here, this area that you haven't been looking in. And nobody on this planet is not deserving of a loving relationship. They just create that internally within them. So it's a brilliant opportunity to look at what you failed and refused to look at and open that door. I love it, Tamara. I love that. Um, I want to go into other areas of life. I loved what we were talking about children. And you
Mm.
talk about birthing plans. So what we'll do is with children now, we'll go down different levels because either you all have children or you were children. Tell us a little bit about children and birthing. I love that question.
Yeah, so there are a lot of different birthing plans available to parents these days, and it can be quite a big minefield to decide what you're going to do. So the pendulum is a great way to say, is this birthing plan the right one for me and my baby? Rather than just having a stab and hoping that it's the right thing for you and your child to experience.
Yeah. So again, all down to energy. Am I putting the right energy into this, in the right way? One of the questions that we talked about today, you and I, Tamara, was where you get a negative answer to this one. And I just wanted to make sure that I was prepared for this because I love your genius and I love your energy, by the way. You give off a
Thanks,
very
Fred.
brilliant, beautiful, beautiful energy. Like you're such a comfortable energy place to be. And I've experienced you now for, quite a few months. And that's a great energy that you give off. So I just wanted to make sure that we kind of exude that energy to, people watching this webinar, this interview. Are my children now, if you have children, are my children at the right school? And the pendulum comes back and says, no, that's a problem.
That's actually a great opportunity. So, this is a wonderful opportunity for you to sit down with your kids and find out what's going on with them. See if they're being bullied, if they're being harassed, if they're finding the workload too much, there's too much after school sport, they just don't like the environment or their teachers. It's a great, great opportunity for you to open a very deep conversation with your kids.
I just came up with a great thought, a great question that all of you sitting here, write this down. This is a good one. You want to write this down. And the question is, am I'll ask if this is the right question, Tamara, is, am I communicating with my partner the right way? Is that a question I could ask the
That
pendulum?
is absolutely a question that you can ask. Yes.
Okay,
Yes. Because that's the fundamental of every relationship, of everything
it
we do in
is.
life is communication.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt about it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Right. Could I ask the pendulum, am I loving myself the right way? Am I respecting and honoring myself the right way? Would I get an answer back from that?
That is a very open-ended question. So you'd need to be careful about how you phrase that. You may want to rethink how you phrase that. So rather than saying that, you could say something like, am I self-nurturing enough? Am I doing enough in my day-to-day life to nurture myself and my love? Am I doing enough to be healing myself? So there are other ways of asking that question that might give you a better answer.
So there's specific ways to deal with the pendulum, and that's what you teach our students. Is that right? Yeah,
That's correct.
because you got to get it right. And we talk about that, by the way, in meditation. You can meditate on the wrong thing and be actually doing some damage to your brain by building the wrong beliefs into your brain. And the same thing here. So this is about training to learn how to get this exactly right. Now, I
That's right.
do I do know this. I know that we're doing this in 30 minutes. And I know that at the end you have a jaw dropper for everybody in the webinar. I know that you've created a jaw dropper, and I really love, by the way, what you're about to tell these viewers as they sit here and watch in our Think and Grow community. I love it. I want to get to it. Um, children. For those of you with children, I talk about it a lot. Be very mindful of what you're telling your children because you're building their personality, and their personality is not their fault. Their personality is your fault. And we have to really take responsibility for that because children are very vulnerable. They live in the brain frequency of alpha and they're absorbing everything that's going on around them. And as a parent myself, I made mistakes with my children. I recognize those mistakes now. So if I was to do it all over again, would I do it differently? My answer is I would 100% do it differently. I would be extremely mindful of how I'm interacting with life, how I'm interacting with my children, and what I'm allowing my children to see my actions are as I interact with life and people in it. Can I ask the pendulum, am I teaching my children the right principles?
Yes, absolutely. That's a great question to ask. It's going to give you some very directed information about your interaction with your kids. And you could then ask, how are your children responding to that in another question? So there's layers that you can then ask. It just opens the doorway, and then it's up to your imagination and the way you phrase a question and your intention of that question as to how you'll be answered.
And you're teaching students in doing this, those intentions, how to set those intentions correctly. Am I right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
There's a large section on intentions.
Right. I want to talk now to those people in business, or people who'd love to be in business, or people who are in employment. I talk about a lot with polarization. If I'm working in a toxic environment, toxic, right? And there's condescending people around me and so on. And I know you and I haven't prepared this, so I'm landing this one on you, Tamara. Can I ask the pendulum, am I responsible for the negative interactions of how people are responding back to me? Am I creating that myself?
Yeah, that's a great question to ask, Ray. Yeah, because it's going to give you a very clear yes or no. If you are doing that, then it's time to have another look at what you're doing and change your thought processes, because that's what's creating the problem in the first place.
And look at myself.
Look at yourself. Yeah. If you change the mechanics of how you're thinking, that will change everything about how other people are interacting with you.
In doing this work, then, where am I getting the pendulum?
You can buy the pendulum from my store on the website.
Very good. Okay. And then I'm just learning how to do the work with this energy, with this pendulum. Am I right?
That's right.
Can I ask it? I wrote a question. Is my business going to grow in the next year?
Great question. Great. I did this question when I was first thinking about writing this course, in fact, and it has taken a year to do that. And the answer I got was yes. So this, yes, take this idea of this pendulum course. Will I be able to bring it into reality? Was the question I actually asked, and here we are today. Great question.
Right.
There are in the course there are over 100 questions in 15 categories you can ask. So if you asked and answered every one of those questions, that would definitely take you a long time. So there's a rotation that you can use as you choose.
Can I just go back to the accuracy of the answer?
Yes.
Give me talk to me and just, as a kind of a complete novice in pendulums, how would you answer that for me?
The accuracy of your pendulum is going to be dependent on your relationship to your pendulum, your relationship to yourself, your higher self, universal energy. So part of the course is to teach you how to be still within yourself, create a space, set the intention, and then connect very specifically with your pendulum. So the practice every day, 5 to 10 minutes, is about you increasing your connection with your pendulum and your higher self and deepening that connection. The deeper the connection, the better your answer is going to be. Yes, you'll make mistakes. Yes, your pendulum will give you some incorrect answers to begin with, but that's a learning. That's part of the beauty of the learning process. So the more you do it, the more you do this every day, just 5 minutes every day, the better your answers are going to be. And very, very quickly, you will increase and become a master.
Tamara, just convinced me because I see the names of all the attendees tonight. I just scrolled through a few of them there. Why should men do this? Because this is I don't know whether you've noticed, but I'm a man. And I think, and I hang out with men, and this might not be a man thing. But you know what? I know my answer. I'll let you answer first.
This course is for anybody. If you are interested in your life and the way your life journey is progressing and you want answers on your day-to-day life, this course is for you. Doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. This is for everybody, this course.
Well, it's not so much even the course. It's about, are these answers important enough to us? And I love the brilliance of what you've created. And I do understand the accuracy of that as well. So yes, I get that. It's very important. Tell us a little bit about you, your qualifications, your career path. What do you do in a short and 60 seconds?
Oh, okay. I have qualifications in homeopathy, Western herbal medicine, animal biochemic tissue salts for humans and animals. I'm a Reiki master, humans and animals. I do sound bowl therapy. Um, Quite a few things. I have a long history. I started with massage and reflexology and it just continued. And now I work with Crest9 and Skio predominantly, using those other therapies as adjunctive modalities. So more into quantum healing techniques these days, using technology and using all these other therapies as a way of treating people.
How long did it
And I
take
use
you
my
to?
pendulum every day in my
Yeah.
practice. I use it every day to help people find answers to questions and to give me answers to remedies and how much they might need to use.
How long should I spend every day doing this to
5 minutes.
answers?
5 minutes.
So I'm going to get answers in 5 minutes, and those answers now are going to open doorways that weren't open for me before. And literally, that is the power of energy.
It sure is.
How
It
long
sure
did it take you to write this course after
is.
you and I met and you decide
Yeah.
I need to put my knowledge out there, my 10 years and pack it in? How long did it take you to write this course?
Yeah, about 300 hours, right?
About
Long time.
well, you got to get it perfect, right? You got to get
Got to
it right,
get
and you have to give it
it
your all. You have to give it your best.
perfect. You sure do. I hope I
For sure,
have.
because you want your students to get the absolute best out of the course. You want them to get the outcome, right?
I do. I
Right.
do. This is very altering for people's lives to do this
Okay.
course.
Now, I know that in my communication with you and in wanting to give value, can you see my screen? Did I share my screen there?
Yes, I've got it.
Great. And is it moving?
Yes, it's moving.
Right. Okay. Here's a question just before we finish off for everybody. Um, this way. Did I ask you to create something really, really special for the Think and Grow community?
You did.
Right. Did you
So
do it? Right. And you've done that. Okay. So Tamara now has a Pendulum online course. And having spent time with Tamara, looking through that course as she built it, Tamara built this, done 99% of this work herself, with a lot of guide and direction from our team as well. Absolutely at the same time. No doubt about that. But it's you built it. Our guys just sat in there and helped you build a framework and so on.
I would never have been able to build this without the direction from you guys.
Yeah, thank
Eternally
you.
thank
Pleasure. But now you've got a great, great course. And what Tamara has done is, as I guide down here, Tamara is giving all the Think and Grow community access to that course for $29.99. That's it. Now, there are 3 different levels of the course, of course. And the intention is that you go through the first level and then decide if you want to go into the second level and the third level. Am I right, Tamara?
That's right. The first level is to get you to be able to master the pendulum into a yes/no answer so that you can get into those questions very quickly.
Okay. And then what we done was you wanted to put that course out in a way that people didn't need to work with anybody one-on-one. Did you achieve that in this course?
Yes, I did.
Right. So they just don't need to come and see you in your rooms.
No, they don't. No,
It's
no, this is
all
a self-paced course. Everything that you need is in the course.
it's all online.
It is all online.
Okay, great. Now, so for those of you now who want to get to that course and enroll in that course for $29, which is just a no-brainer, by the way. I think it's a brilliant, brilliant offer that you've put together 10 years of work with 300 hours and to offer it to our community for $29 tomorrow. I want to say thank you very much for giving our community the opportunity to do this with you this way. Like, thank you so much for that, because I know you put a lot into it. I was watching what was going on and communicating with you. I know you put your heart and soul into it. That is extremely, extremely generous of you. And that's the intention of Think and Grow, to bring you the greatest value that we possibly can. And I think you've absolutely nailed it with this here. Now, for those of you who want to enroll in Tamara's course and become a Pendulum participant in the course, you will just go to the Think and Grow website. And when you go to the Think and Grow website, you just simply navigate to the website and you go to courses. And when you go to courses, then you just scroll down to short courses. In short courses, then you will scroll down and you will find Tamara's course. Is it as simple as that, Tamara?
It's as simple as that, Ray.
Great.
Pendulums with
And
Tamara.
you set up yourself with an account, and with your account, then you simply put in your details. It will send you an email and you do your registration. Now, just to make sure that everybody, because this is the first time that we presented this and we want to make sure that we get it right for you. I'll just do some questions and answers, and I'll do some hands up as well. Now, if you want to enroll in the course, just go to the questions and just say yes. And what we will do is I will take a screenshot of that for you and make sure that we get you the course if for some reason you just can't navigate through your Think and Grow website. So just do that and I will do that for you. Now, okay, thank you for that. Just stick with me and let me do it this way. It might be a bit antiquated, but it absolutely works. Now, let me just navigate you. Get your pen and paper. I will tell you how to do this. Now, the anonymous person, what you will need to do is email info@thinkandgroweducation.com.au and just say, yes, I want the course. info@thinkandgroweducation.com.au, because you've enrolled here as anonymous. So we don't know who you are. And the rest of you, I'm taking all your photographs of your hands up in here to get you this course. And there's a lot. So just bear with me. Now, how do you get it if you want to do it online? It's very, very simple. All you do is you go to thinkandgroweducation.com.au. You click on courses in the tab up the top. You scroll down to short courses. You then find Tamara's course. You click in. You set up an account with your email. It will email you the order form, and bump, you're just into the order form and you just do your enrollment and you will become a Pendulum participant and student in that brilliant course. How cool is that? And then if you want your Pendulum, you can just buy your Pendulum through Tamara by messaging her on the landing page on the Think and Grow platform, and she will send you your Pendulum. You will send her your payment for your Pendulum, and Tamara will send you the Pendulum. Now, what I would love you to do is this. I would love you to email us and tell us what you're getting from this Pendulum course, what it is that you're picking up from that. And I think that would be a great way of getting feedback and so on. Great. Tamara, anything you want to say before we finish off with everybody?
Thank you all for coming and listening to me babble on about pendulums. I've really, really enjoyed it and I loved to put this course together. Thank you so much, Ray.
Great. Look, my pleasure. And thank you for being here. Thank you for everything that you've done for us. I'm just photographing the rest of the hands that just went up so that we don't miss out on you. But you should be able to do it through your order form. And thank you to all of you for being part of Think and Grow. And thank you for wherever you are in the world and being here with us this evening. And I will see you all again real soon. Thank you, Tamara.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks, everyone.
Good night.